Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to see your role as a data analyst. Okay, and in this we are going to see actually what does a data analyst actually do. And this will be for a real time because I have taken the inputs from all the professionals who are really working in this data analyst domain in real time in different industries. And this is for 2024. And we are going to see everything from start to end because most of you know the technical things behind all these tools, but who are trying to make a career switch, who are working as a fresher, who are learning these tools, but they don't know what actually industry wants or what actually the work they have to do when they enter on, or we can say in the industry and start to work on actual project. Okay, so all the information of this particular video, the source of information which I have mentioned in this video, it is based on my 9+ years of experience in this data analytics field. And also I have taken so many inputs from the professionals who are working in different domains for this industry. And they are working on different domains and different projects in this data analyst industry. Okay, guys. So before starting, I would like to ask you to go ahead and subscribe my channel. So we are very close to 100K, and you have shown so much of love in last 1 year, and many people are giving very much positive feedback and comments that they are liking my videos, they are understanding whatever I am doing. And this topic I have chosen because most of the, or I can say I have added a post in community YouTube where I asked people which video we should make, and most of the people voted for this particular topic itself. So we are going to discuss on this because technical information everybody gives, but in real time, what you have to actually do in in data analyst company, working as a data analyst in a company or in industry on different projects. All right, guys. So I request you to go ahead and subscribe the channel. Okay, hit the like button and share it with your friends who are trying to make a career in data analyst. So let's move ahead in our video. So what we are going to discuss in this particular video, I will just give you a quick summary of the video. In this, we will discuss what happens when you join a new company. Okay, what are the initial procedures? Then onboarding, what happens? What are the procedure when you are onboarded to a new project? And after onboarding, obviously you have to build some reports and dashboards and all those things. Either it may be Power BI or Tableau. We will discuss all the procedure how it is done. Then what is the most important question people ask is why SQL is used. So we will discuss that also, that why SQL is important in data analyst. Then what is the use of Python? So why I'm discussing this, because many people think like the Python is the most important part in data analysis. So we will see what is the weightage given to the Python as per the survey which I have taken. I will tell you how much weightage is taken for Python and all those things. All right. Then what is your daily routine? Okay, so this daily routine is commonly the things are taken from different professionals. It might be different, but almost 80 to 90% it will be same. And what amount of work you have to do on servers? It may be Power BI service or it may be on Tableau servers. Okay, because you cannot skip server. Server is the most important part, and we will discuss that as well. So this is a complete summary of the video, and now we will start the actual part of this particular video. So now let's discuss when you join a new company. Okay, so whenever you are joining or you are, your day first is there on a new company or first week is there. So first of all, what is done? The common procedures are done, which every company does. Documentations, filling different forms. You will be given with the system where they will give you a demo on how to set up the system. Your email is created and different apps are installed. That is, everything is common in every company. Okay, then the first thing, after the few days are gone, like 5 to 7 days or 1 week is gone, then they will start onboarding you to a new project. Okay, either they will onboard to your new project or it will be an existing project that we will discuss further. All right, then you will be given a knowledge transfer. We call it as a KT session. KT session means what? Let's say you initially were working in a healthcare domain. Okay, and now you are taken or you are absorbed as a data analyst or a Power BI developer or a Tableau developer or a software engineer who should be working on bank domain. So in that case, what happens? The people who are already working in that industry, who might be your senior or who might be your at same level, or he might be your colleague or he or she might be your colleague, he will give you the knowledge. He or she will be giving you the knowledge transfer. Means what? all the work which right now they are giving, they will give you the knowledge transfer. This KT session actually happens, you might have seen the KT sessions happens when uh, you are leaving the company, you are in the notice period and you give knowledge transfer to your current resources. This happens in uh, the way when you are joining the new company as well. All right. So no, don't take it the other way that knowledge transfers only happens in whenever you are leaving a company, whenever you are on a notice period, right? So knowledge transfer is given. Then after that, shadow training is given. Shadow training is nothing but whatever training which is given to you, like knowledge transfer, or we call it as a training also. That training is given to you. In that, they will, whatever is taught to you, they will ask you to do in front of them. Okay, I mean to say, in supervision of them, they will ask you to build any dashboard, to build any process, or to follow any process. In the same way, whenever you are doing and the person is supervising you, that is called as shadow training. Okay, I mean to say, he will be supervising whether you are doing it correct. That is called as shadow training. Then on whichever project you will be going on, right? So let's say you are going for a bank projects. So in that case, what is happening, you have to take a domain knowledge means understanding that business whichever you are trying to go or trying to be onboarding, right? So in that case, you have to learn everything about that particular domain. Okay, unless and until you are learning about the business, okay, for the client which you are going to work on. So unless and until you're working or you're learning what his business is, what he is actually doing, okay, what are the different terminologies he is using, until and unless you are learning those, you will be not able to understand or build any reports. Okay, then go through the already built reports, right? So many times what happens that some reports might be already built. Okay, so what happens that your colleague will ask you to go through these reports. He will send you some reports and he will say that go through these reports, understand what is the flow, understand what are the logic used, understand what are the different charts used, right? And if any questions are there, you can ask him, right? So in this way, at the start, these procedures are going on. Then he will ask you to go through different BRDs. Okay, your manager will give you business requirement documents, right? So for whatever client you are working on, the documents are stored, right? So all the documents in the form of PDFs are stored. He will give you those documents. He will ask you to go through and learn what the flow is there, what is the business about, what are the different domains, what are the different terminologies used in this business, right? So this happens overall when you join a new company. Okay. So the question comes like, is everyone given the training and shadow training? No, depending upon company to company, the trainings are given. Okay, if the requirement is very urgent, okay, let's say you are having an experience of 4 to 5 years as a data analyst, the people or the, like, you are a resource for that company. So whenever you are having an experience of more than 4 year or 5 years, they will not provide you trainings. Many times I'm telling you, okay, they will not provide you trainings because they already know that you know everything, you know all the business procedures, you know all the technical knowledge. Okay, so if you have that more than 5 years of experience, they will not provide you the trainings. Most of the times they will not provide. In some cases, they will provide you. Okay, and if you are having a fresher, if you are a fresher or 1 year of experience, they might provide you the knowledge transfer, technical trainings, and then they will provide you the process trainings as well, right? Because every company follows different processes, right? So this is the scenario in a real time. Got it? So before moving ahead in the video, I would like to introduce you to my website. So this website was opened with request of many subscriber and many followers like you, where they wanted to reach out to me. They can guidance on mock interviews, one-on-one in mentorship, career guidance in data analyst, what roadmap we should follow, what are your questions we can discuss over here. So you can book a call from here. Also, there are some digital products and some data analyst materials also. You can see there is a Power BI material available. Some projects are also available, SQL material. The complete data analyst roadmap and material is available over here. Also, the project which we are using as an example in this particular video, that is based on financial domain. So if you are interested, you can go ahead and buy it from here. In this, the complete video from start to end is mentioned. All the domain knowledge, terminologies, what functional requirements we are using, BRDs, as well as problem statements from start to end. Everything is explained as in a real-time project in this particular package. So you can go ahead and you can see more than 600 bookings are done in last 45 days. Okay, and I was a top rated in data analyst field and a top rated in last month as well. So if you are interested, you can go and follow and see the website, and you can buy the things which are required for it. So let's move ahead in the video. Whenever you are onboarded to a new project, okay, so there are two scenarios. Either you will be onboarded to an existing project, or either you are onboarded to a new project. So what does an existing project means? So like, right, let's say you are absorbed in Deloitte company. Okay, so you are selected in a Deloitte company where you have to work on a bank project. So financial project is there, but that project is already going on, and you are a new resources which will be added into that particular project. So what happens in that case, the reports, some of the reports are already built. Okay, some are going through build process, which from start to scratch. So there are two cases. Either you will be onboarded to a completely existing projects, or you will be onboarded to a new project. New project means what? That customer has been onboarding to that company, and he's having some requirements, some business problem for which you have to go ahead and build some reports. Okay, so whenever you are onboarded on a new project, sorry, let's discuss first existing project. So whenever you are onboarded on an existing project, first thing what is there? There will be already some build reports or dashboards will be there, correct? So what you have to do is, or what you will ask to do is, again go through all the reports and dashboards which are already built, understand those, go through the logics. If you have any questions, you can obviously ask to your colleague or to your lead or to your manager, right? Then go through the requirements. The requirements of this per already existing projects are already gathered. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to go through all the requirements. What is the ask of that particular business or that particular client? Then go through the data, go through how many tables are there, what are the data connections are there, what is the requirement, which chart is required, what logic is required, right? So you have to go through all the requirements and problem statements, right? Then most of the time what work you have to do is you have to do refining of reports and data sources. Means what? The project or that reports are already built, right? You can see the dashboard in front of you. Your client is saying that we need some refinement, or we can say changes in that particular reports, then in that case you just have to change those particular parts of the report. Getting or not? So actually what happens is, whenever you work on existing project, it is a bit hard to go through that existing project, because what happens is that project was not built by you, it is built by someone else who has already left the company, and you are the person who is taken as a vacant place of that particular person, right? In replacement of that person, you are the resource who is hired, and then you have to work on that particular project, right? So you have to do some refinement, you have to do some enhancements in that project. If there are any bugs in that project or any bugs in that reports, you have to resolve those as well. And very important, whenever I say here reports, reports are nothing but dashboards only. We call in technical knowledge or in industry, we call those as reports, right? And you might be knowing them as a dashboard. So reports and dashboards are one and the same things. All right, guys. So existing project, whenever you are working, you have to deal with some enhancements, some new functionalities you have to add. And most of the time you have to go through server part. Means what? The reports are already pushed on the server, published on the server. Then you have to go and manage the server, add different users, give different alerts, different subscriptions you have to work on, right? So this is a part of a existing project. Okay. But let's say you're onboarded to a new project, right? So which is completely going to start from scratch, and you will be a person who will be in the process from start to end. Okay. So whenever in this case, whenever you are onboarded to a new project, what happens first is you have to go ahead and do some requirement gathering. Okay. So these are the main points which I'm discussing. There are some other points also, but these are the basic and important points which every company does, right? So first you have to go through requirement gathering. So requirement gathering is nothing but you have to understand the business issue, the business problem which client is having, then note it down in the document, then take the requirement, what is the requirement of that particular fellow. Okay, then document those requirements, right? uh, Questions are asked, right? So why this requirement is there, how to make this, and all those things. That is done, right? Then functional requirement documents. Okay, so all this is stored in the form of documents. We call it as FRDs, right? So always in an interview, whenever you are giving it, try to make use of these technical words like BRDs, business requirement documents, FRDs, functional requirement documents. There are specification documents are also there, right? Then in some time design documents are also there. Design means what, how the designs of that dashboard should be, what are the color and font combination used, right? So try to use these functionalities, or we can say these keywords, these types of technical words in your interview. So your interviewer will get impressed, and he will try to, or he will come to know that yeah, he not only knows technical knowledge, he also have some other business knowledge also, right? Then you go and add, you learn about what is the data source, okay, where the data is coming from, what are the connections. You take the credentials of that particular data source. How will be I connecting to that data source, right? Then data source is nothing but data, I can see. By using that data, you are going to build some reports, right? So you will go ahead and take the data source connections, how the data will be built, what are the data sources that should be built. Then you have to build the report from scratch. Okay. So for a new project, you will be the sole person who will be building all the reports from scratch. And then at last, when the building of reports is done, you have to present it in the form of dashboards or whatever PPTs in front of your client and your manager and your stakeholders as well, right? Whoever are involved in this project, you have to give a presentations to all of them, like how the business, how the dashboard is performing, what are the insights from that particular dashboards, what are the outcomes of that dashboard, right? So this everything you have to give a presentation to your client. All right. So this is the difference whenever you are onboarded to a project. Either you will be working on existing projects or you will be onboarded to a completely new project. All right. So these are the situations when you are onboarded to a project. Now let's discuss how the dashboard is actually built. Okay. So now building a report or dashboard. So I will just give you the complete, the structure which is followed in most of the industries, right? So I've already told you whenever you are onboarded to a new project, but let's discuss in detail how the things are done. All right. So first thing, what, understand the business problems, right? So when I say understanding the business problem is nothing but the meeting is set with your client, in which your manager is there, your business analyst is there, your solution architect is there, then your architect engineer is also there, who will be designing how the reports will be looking like. Your lead will be there, your colleagues will be there. Okay, you sit and you discuss what is the business problem. You start requirement gathering and all those things. You take the business documents like what is the domain, or we can say if it is a financial domain, if it is a healthcare domain, you are going to ask your customer that please give us the documents, let us study the business first. So I will just give you an example. So in this way the documents are given, not exactly, but in this way the documents are given where everything will be mentioned in the document. Like let's say this is for financial domain, for bank domain. So this is the domain knowledge which will be provided for you, like credit card, what is the online portal, what does a loan application mean. Everything will be in writing, and from that you have to understand what the business domain knowledge is. Sometimes you are giving with the terminology document also. So this is the terminologies documents. Like in that particular data, there will be different fields. So what is the meaning of all those fields, right? So what does that field mean, and what is the purpose of that field in that particular data? Getting or not? That also you have to do, and in sometimes you have to go through problem statements also. So after discussions of all of these, your business client will provide you some documents in which the most important will be your problem statement, from which you have to build some reports for them. Getting or not? So in this way, you have to go ahead and do the business problem and requirement gathering, right? So after gathering all the requirements, then the action plan is decided. Okay, how many resource planning is done and action plan is decided. Action plan is nothing but how we are going to deal with these requirements and how we are going to deal with these projects, right? So action plan is decided. Resource planning is done means what? In this particular project or on this particular project, how many resources or how many employees will be required to build these reports and build this particular requirement, right? So resource planning is done, one resource, two resource, three resource. Then timelines are decided, right? Let's say your client has given you the requirements on today's date, and he's asking you to give the reports by in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, right? So what happens in timeline, what happens actually guys is, always remember, whenever your client is giving you the requirements, it is not that he is asking you to build one dashboard or two dashboards or two reports. No, in that particular business problem or for that particular business, you have to build more than 20 or 30 dashboards. Okay. So I have dealt with one of the client, which was a finance project where I have built 105 dashboards for that particular project. It was a 1 year project, 1 or 1.5 year of project it was, in which we have built 100, more than 100 plus dashboards. So it depends that from business to business, because on many online platforms and YouTube, you see that on my channel itself also you see that I have built only one dashboard or two dashboard. But in real time, what happens? The data is in multiple tables. The data is huge, okay, from which you can or you have to design multiple dashboards. Getting or not? And multiple dashboards, when I say sometimes it is 30, 40, depending upon the business, but the number is always high, right? So what business actually want is, or a client actually want is, client will give you the first 4 or 5 dashboards which are on priority. He will set the priority and he will give you that these 4 dashboards are required as early as possible. So you will be working only on those 4 dashboards. The 4 dashboards will be designed and then you will giving it to your customer. Getting or not? So for those, the timelines are decided, right? So always remember, timelines are decided before only, and in that timeline, buffer time is also selected. Like if there is, it might if it might be a delay in the project, right? So some resources are on leave, or some resources are on sick leave, or if there is any problem, any blockers are there, right? So any functional or any technical requirement is very hard that we cannot implement that. It will take some time for implementation. In that case, all the timelines are decided, right? And after all it is done, that data source and data source connections are decided. What are the files? Okay. So always remember, in real time, you will be always working on servers and on databases like Postgres, MongoDB is there, MySQL, MS SQL servers are there, where relational databases are there and where multiple files will be stored. So you will always have to work on these types of data sources, right? Where multiple, you have to deal with multiple tables. So always try to work on these data sources. Flat files like CSV file and Excel files, very rarely you have to work on this particular data sources, right? Then after that, you have to do data cleaning and you have to check the quality of the data, right? If required, right? So most of the time it is required. You have to do some data cleaning, you have to check the quality of the data. And after that is done, you have to do data modeling, right? Data modeling is nothing but connecting multiple tables, right? You have to make a relationship, decide the cardinality, one to many to one. Then you have to build a schema like star schema or snowflake schema, right? So most of the, I can say 70% of work is done on data only, like data source connections, data cleaning quality, and data modeling. 70% of your time will be dedicated to this only. Once this is done, developing the chart and logics, it's up to 30% of part is only remaining. Okay, so developing charts and then logics building is done, and then you are building your dashboards, right? So as I told you, how many dashboard you need to build for one project, I already told you it may be more than 20 or 30 dashboards. And after the dashboards are developed, then you will be publishing it to the servers, right? So this is the overall flow whenever you will be onboarded any project. Getting or not? And this is the overall flow. In between, there are so many other facts and components are also considered. Okay, but at higher level, this is how you will be working in a real time. Getting or not? So let's move ahead and let's discuss the process of building the dashboard, right? So where you will be building initially, on which data you will be building the dashboards, which environment you will be using. So these are the interview questions asked as well, like on which environment you are working on, how many environments, on which environment you are building the dashboards. Getting or not? So one environment is there called as UAT environment. We also called it as staging environment, and full form of UAT is nothing but user access acceptance test environment. So what is a UAT environment and what is a production environment? We will discuss these two things separately. So first is UAT environment. So always remember, UAT environment is an environment where dummy data or test data will be present. Okay. So whenever you will be onboarded, your data collection is done, everything is done. With business requirement gathering is done, domain knowledge is studied, terminologies are studied, data connections are taken, requirement gathering is done, problem statement is finalized. Everything is done, and now you are starting building of your reports and your dashboards. What is happening? Client will never give you their original or production data. Okay. They will never give you your real-time data. They will give you the dummy data, or we call it as a staging data or UAT data or test data, we called it, right? So they will give you some amount of test data, which will be similarly, it will be a duplicate of your production or real-time data. Just some values will be changed. Okay. And what your client will be asking, use this data and first build your report. Okay. And it will be built on UAT environment or a testing environment. So what you will do, you will be building your reports on first UAT environment. You will do all the data connections, data cleaning you will do. Then you will start building your data sources. Okay. You will connect to your MS SQL server or MySQL, or you will be connecting to your cloud services like Azure or AWS or GCPs. You will start building the reports, you will do the dashboard building. Okay. Let's say you have built two dashboards. Okay. Your requirement was that your client is asking that first build these two dashboards on priority. You are building these two dashboards and then you are publishing it on UAT server. UAT server is nothing but it may be Power BI service UAT server or a Tableau UAT server. And when you are publishing those reports on the server, so whenever I'm saying your server, guys, always remember reports are always published on servers only. From there only it is visible to clients or multiple users or multiple stakeholders, right? So when it is pushed on UAT server, testing is always done. Okay, so now this part is very, very much important. Okay, and many people ask me why SQL is important. Here is, I will tell you why SQL is important. So unit testing is done by developer. Now, what does unit testing mean by? Unit testing means what? Few data is tested by developer itself, right? Because whenever you are creating any charts or any graphs, you can create a graph is showing some value that 100K sale is there, 200K sale is there. But how do you compare, or how are you sure that that value is correct only? So basic level of testing is done, that is cross checking is done, that whether this particular value is correct or not. So unit testing is done. Complete testing is also done. It is either done by developer itself, like us people itself, or it will be done by our QA team. Okay. So now, whenever you are doing a testing, always remember SQL is used for testing. I mean to say, let's say you have built this reports. I will show you. Let's say this is a bank loan report which you have built. Okay, everything is built over here. So like these values are shown, MTD is shown, MOM is shown. You can see different values are shown over here. So how come you will be 100% sure that this value is correct only? Because Power BI will show anything value. Tableau will show any value. 86.2 percentage is a good loan percentage. How come I will be sure that this value is correct only? Client also needs some confirmation that Tableau reports are correct only. They are 100% proven, and then they will use it. So for that, always remember testing is always done, and that testing is either done by you or either done by your QA team. Okay. So now it depends. If the company is big, if your reporting team is big, if your Tableau team or Power BI team is big, then what happens? The bigger company keeps a dedicated QA person. But if it is a small scale company, you have to only do the QA on that. And for doing this QA, you have to check these values. These values are checked by firing SQL queries to the database. Okay. So you know what is the problem statement. You have to write the SQL query there based on that particular requirement. You have to fire the query to your SQL, and then SQL will be giving you the result. You have to compare that result with this result, and then you will be sure that yeah, this value is correct, and then you can give sign off to that particular chart. And this is done on each and everything which is present on this particular dashboard. Getting or not? Filters are also tested. Each and every filter is tested, and when filtering is done, values will be changing. Those values are also correct. Everything is tested. Getting or not? And this is called data validation. First, functional validation means what? Whenever I'm operating this dashboard, right? So let's say I'm looking for a good loan. So whether these functions are changing, whether this filter is changing or not. Okay. So means what? The dashboard is functionally working or not, right? So in this way, you have to check if dashboard is functionally working or not. Let's say you are going for when I'm selecting this all, let's select this all. and let's say I will go to overview dashboard. So means what? Let's say when I click to this particular part of the chart, you can see other parts are also changing likewise. So these are what functional validation. So means what your dashboard is functionally correctly working or not, right? So you have to do both functional and data validation. Then what happens? You are giving your all the data validation, your reports is given to the client, and on client side also there are some testers are there, right? If required. So if client wants to keep some testing unit at their side, they will do some basic level of testing. And if they find that reports are correct, every SQL query, unit testing, complete QA testing is correct, then and then they will give you the sign off. Sign off means what? They will say, yeah, okay, the dashboard is correct. All right. If client says that no, something is wrong in this particular chart, these values are not correct, this color is not correct, this chart type is not correct, the layout is not correct, it will always come back to you. You have to make those changes. Again, you have to unit test. Again, you have to QA. Again, it will go to client. This to and fro is always happening until and unless client is giving or client is accepting those reports. Okay, and this is all these things are done on testing environment, UAT environment only. There are questions asked in interview on which environment you are working. And when you say UAT environment and production environment, they will ask you what is UAT, what is environment, and what is production, right? So when the UAT environment client is giving you the sign off, when client is approving the products on UAT environment, then production environment come into play. What does production environment means? Here your real-time data is present. The data which client is real-time it generated, that data is production is present on production environment. And once a UAT sign off is given, all the reports are published to production environment. Okay, all reports and data sources is published on production environment. And on production environment, you don't do complete testing because the data on production environment is real. UAT environment was also, it was a duplicate data, but it was similar structure of data which production environment has. Just the values and numbers are changing over there. Next, you are doing smoke test or sanity test. Smoke test, many of you might be knowing. It is mainly done by you or a QA team. So smoke test is nothing but you are just checking at higher level if the reports are performing well, functionally working well, uh, sanitization is done. I mean to say like if the reports are performing well on production environment, you are good to go and you can say to your client that yeah, production reports are pushed, you can start using the reports. Then client will say that give us the presentation of the report. Tell me how the reports are working, how to operate these reports. Then you are asked to give a presentation to the client where you will tell the client how the reports are working, how to operate the reports, what are the insights generated in the reports. From your side, you have to tell what are the insights generated in the reports, and then clients start using these reports. Getting or not? This is the overall procedure. The procedure is same if let's say the report is present in production environment and there is change in the report, right? Like he says that you have to change this particular chart or add a new chart in that particular report. Same procedure will be followed. You have to do it first in UAT environment, do all the testing, take client sign off, and then it is pushed on production environment. So these procedures are always followed, guys. You should know this. All right. So I hope you have understood. Then let's discuss what is use of SQL in real time. Okay. So SQL is the most important thing, guys. First, let's discuss. These are few only. Okay, I have just mentioned few which are most important. First is connecting to the database. Okay. So always remember your data is always present in data warehouse from where it comes to your database. And to see the data, you have to fire some SQL queries to your database, and then you can see the data in front of your eyes, right? Then manage and manipulate the data, right? If there is requirement of manipulation or cleaning of the data, you can do that in SQL. Checking the quality of the data. Quality of the data is nothing but if data is well enough, we can say cleaned, that we can use that in the visualization, right? So checking the quality of the data is also done. Building table views. Views means what? You know, views, materialized views, where you have to build some temporary tables. For that, you have to build the views in SQL. Then automate data processing task, right? So let's say you are using any SQL queries again and again, just you have to change some parameters in that. Then in that case, you are building some stored procedures, right? That is required. whenever you are using any repetitive task by changing few of the parameters in that particular SQL query. All right, guys. Then connecting to Power BI and Tableau, obviously you have to connect your connecting of your Power BI and Tableau to SQL, then and then you will be able to fetch the data in your Power BI or Tableau workbooks, right? This I have shown in my video as well. Then data validation of the reports, okay, which is the most important part. Like whatever the data which whatever we are showing on these reports, whatever numbers are shown on these reports, each and every number is validated by using SQL queries, because client will not use the report unless and until you are testing that reports, you are giving the sign off to the reports, right? So each and every chart with all the filters, it is tested in SQL, right? So this is the use of SQL. 40% of weightage is given to SQL whenever you are working on any project. So always remember 40 to 45%. So that's the reason people are asking you SQL questions in interviews. Getting or not? So what is use of Python now? So many people are confused whether I should learn Python or whether I should not. Okay. So some cases, okay. So first let's discuss the percentage of use of Python in data analysis. So always remember, in a few of the projects only Python is required. I can say if there are 10 projects, out of 10 only 2 or 3 projects are there where Python is required. Okay, or your client will say use Python. And that is also required if it is a complex data set or a complex project is there. And in that also, if data cleaning is done at complex level, then only we use Python. Or creating a data model. Okay, like if it is not possible to create a data model in SQL or any data engineering tool, then we make use of Python. Then dealing with complex data set and automating the process, right? So if you are like, I have used Python in one of my financial project where I have built 105 dashboards. Okay, and publishing of 105 dashboards manually is a very big task. So in that case, what we have done, we have built a Python script by which all the dashboards were automatically getting pushed to the server. All 105 dashboards were automatically pushed to the servers. I don't have to do a single task manually. So for automation, in some cases, Python is required. Okay. And in some cases, your client will also ask you to build some plots and visualizations on Python. Like you have a Python libraries like Matplotlib, all these uh, libraries are there from which you can build some different EDA models and visualizations. And if there is some advanced analysis and predictive analysis is there, then of course you have to use Python. Okay, so this is the use of Python. Always remember, in 70 to 80% projects or companies, they don't ask you Python as a compulsory language. It is good to have, but it is not mandatory. Most important things are SQL, Excel, and any Power BI or Tableau tool. Alright. So now, what is your daily routine? Okay, so this is all the question, all the people ask questions like, what is my daily routine will be there. So very simple. It is not fixed actually, but I can tell you how the what we can say at higher level your daily routine. In most of the companies, it will be that. So obviously, whenever you log in, you check your emails, and depending upon what email is there, you have to reply to those emails with whatever answers are required. You will reply to those particular emails. Then obviously meetings will be there. There will be some internal meetings like regular stand-ups will be there, or any manager meeting, lead meeting will be there. You have to attend those. Then you have to also attend client meetings. You have to tell the progress of project, how much it is done. If you have any issues or any blockers, you can discuss with your client, gather the requirements, understand the data, how it is there, and all those things. Then meeting with data engineers and stakeholders. So always remember, whether you are working as a data analyst, you will be always in contact with your data engineering team, because data will be coming from data engineers only. If there is issue in the data, you have to contact to your data engineering team. All right. So meeting with data engineering teams, then in working on different projects. Okay. So working on project involve all the process which I discussed before. Right. So you have to work on your projects, on your regular projects, building dashboards and all those things. Then in some cases you have to work on trainings also. In some cases you have to provide trainings to your junior also. In some cases you have to take trainings from your seniors also, right? And there are some trainings which are company trainings are also there. So it depends, like but trainings you have to take and attend also, right? Then ad hoc requirements. Ad hoc requirements is nothing but you are working on any project, but sometimes what happens that a project which you have worked in past, okay, or a project who your fellow colleague is working, but he is on leave. Then what happens? If he is on leave and any urgent requirement comes, then what manager will do? Manager will say work on this project first. Okay, means priority work is given to you. That leave whatever work you are working on and do this particular thing or this particular requirement or solve this particular problem of this particular client. So in that case also sometimes you have to work on some ad hoc requirements or any unpredictable work will come to you where you have to work on those as well, right? So these requirements also come. So don't think that you just have to work on your project. You have to work on some already existing projects or your client or your manager would also ask you to work on the projects of your colleagues and all those things, right? And then sending daily reports to clients, right? Sometimes, many times you are asked, send daily reports, send weekly reports, send monthly reports from whatever the dashboards you have built, send to your client, to your stakeholders, to your manager, whoever is involved in that particular process. And apart from this, you will have a lunch break, you will have tea break, you will collaborate with your different team members, your different, we can say different teams also you will be collaborating. You will be involved in different office events, play, there will be some outdoor trekkings and all those things are there, office parties are there, you will be playing in between. So these things you do only, right? So these are social things which you have to do apart from whatever the technical things you are doing. Correct? Then what is how much server is important? Okay, guys. So always remember either you are working on a Power BI, then Power BI service is important, and if you are working on Tableau, then Tableau server is important. Because whatever reports and dashboards you are building, until and unless you publish it on server, the people or the client won't be able to see those. Right? So always remember server are the most important part. I can say equally important, right? Then setting and managing the sites means you are the whole and sole person who will be publishing the reports. You will be allowed to or you will be asked to manage that particular site. Like you have to manage the data source refreshing, data source extract refreshing. If there is any failure, you will be responsible to handle those failure, make the reports working and all those things. Then adding different users, giving different permissions to that users, adding different client users, adding different your colleague as an user in that particular, giving different subscriptions, alerts, data flows, and all these things. Getting enough. So guys, this was all a complete actually what a data analyst actually do in his real-time projects. So this was an information which was gathered from different professionals and as per my understanding as well. So I hope you have understood. There are some missing points in this. There might be some changes that it might be not or it cannot be the same way which you will be facing in your real-time industry also. There will be some minor tweaks and tweaks here and there. Like some procedure might be different or some points might be different. You might have to work on some different things also. But most of the time, 70 or we can say 80 to 85% you have to work on these particular things only which I have mentioned in this particular. All right. So I hope I have answered all your questions and all. This was what you were expecting. If you have any questions, you can type in comment sections. If there are suggestions, any missing points we have which you have missed, you can also add in that in the comment sections. And I will see you in the next video, guys. Till then, see you. Bye bye.